The red sunset bathes the ancient towers in crimson. The wind howls through the gaps of the brick tower. Garai stands silent in the fading light. It sounds like a sad song for a fallen dynasty. An ancient empire has faded deep into the dark past. An active archaeologist works carefully on the site. Her gloved hand gently brushes away the fine sand. The sand covers a weathered stone stele on the ground. The surface is heavily soil-stained and cracked. Time has left deep scars on this historical artifact. Most history books leave a huge blank after 1471. They assume Champa completely vanished into ashes. They think the kingdom died when Vijaya collapsed. But for field researchers, that is a great illusion. It is a historical blur that we must decode today. The fall of Vijaya was the dawn of a resilient era. This is the most heroic survival story in history. The epic saga was written on hot sand and wild waves. It belongs to the southern realm of Panduranga. I am Diana, an active field archaeologist on site. Today we will uncover secrets never told before. We explore the critical period from 1471 to 1802. Champa reconstructed its cultural DNA to survive. They fought for an immortal dream against fate. Every artifact here contains a hidden narrative. We look beyond the broken bricks to find the truth. A civilization refused to be erased from the world. Their resilience altered the geopolitical landscape. Let the silent stones speak their ancient words. The journey into the lost southern kingdom begins. My fingers trace the red bricks of the ancient tower. The brick structure is crumbling from the sea wind. How could an isolated state survive surrounded by foes? The political survival of Panduranga is a miracle. The answer lies deep in geopolitical structures. Dr. Pierre Bernard Lafont proved this in his work. He spent his whole life researching this civilization. International scholars support his brilliant thesis. Champa never operated as a centralized state. It was a flexible chain of coastal maritime mandalas. These independent centers shared faith and commerce. They were bound together by ocean trade networks. When the northern crown at Vijaya was crushed, the entire political system did not die out. It activated its supreme cultural defense mechanism. The ruling elite moved everything to the far south. They brought along sacred rituals and royal blood. They turned wild Panduranga into their toughest fort. These red bricks are symbols of absolute adaptation. They traded imperial glory for resilient survival. They stood ready against the harsh trials of destiny. The local kings rebuilt their military defense. They reinforced the walls with local materials. The architectural style shifted to a simpler form. It focused on endurance rather than pure luxury. The relocation preserved the core of leadership. It kept the royal lineage unbroken for centuries. Panduranga became the heart of the new state. The geopolitical shift was a tactical masterstroke. It confused their enemies and gained vital time. The mountains protected their western borders. The ocean provided an open gateway to the world. They utilized the natural landscape perfectly. The defensive network was virtually impenetrable. Champa was ready to write its next grand chapter. This geographical move led to economic transformation. Maritime archaeology has recently shed light on this. Excavations offer new data on their wealth. Western scholars assume territory loss means decay. They think a state without rice fields will perish. But excavations at Malathit and Panrang prove otherwise. The Cham people executed a brilliant strategic shift. They abandoned strict farming and reclaimed the sea. They became masters of the southern maritime Silk Road. Logbooks of Dutch and Portuguese ships describe this. They recorded trading activities along the coast. Japanese Red Seal ships also noted bustling ports. Panduranga acted as a dynamic trade hub in Asia. They held a monopoly on precious agarwood supply. This luxury ritual item was sought by royal courts. Its value was equal to or even higher than silver. Sacred incense flowed from deep highland forests. It moved down rivers straight to Panduranga ports. The trade connected regional tribes with merchants. This global trade network brought immense wealth. It helped Cham kings buy modern Western weapons. They purchased advanced cannons from European traders. They fortified military power to guard independence. Economic power was transformed into military strength. The ports were well defended by heavy artillery. Foreign merchants respected the sovereign laws. They paid taxes directly to the royal treasury. This financial flow kept the state treasury full. The kingdom could afford a permanent standing army. Soldiers were trained in modern naval warfare. They protected merchant ships from brutal pirates. The sea lanes remained safe under Cham control. Panduranga became a vital link in world commerce. They defied the theory of inevitable historical decline. Wealth allowed them to fund grand cultural projects. They restored older shrines and built new monuments. Art and literature flourished during this boom. The maritime economy anchored their survival. It was a golden shield against external threats. The dynamic ocean saved a dying land kingdom. Step inside the dark tower where sunlight cannot enter. The thick air smells of ancient time and sacred incense. My flashlight sweeps across the ancient relief of Shiva. Here, we encounter a unique anthropological mystery. Dr. Lafont highlighted this religious coexistence. Facing external pressure, the society chose harmony. It is a tight bond between Chama here and Cham Awal. One follows indigenous Hinduism, the other local Islam. Inscriptions on these late steles reveal a shocker. Two opposing global faiths merged perfectly here. They blended rituals without losing their identity. Shiva and Allah became two sides of the same coin. They both point back to the same sacred ancestors. The double belief system created social solidarity. Religious wars never occurred in Panduranga. This unique symbiosis was guarded by another wall. The mysterious matrilineal system of the Cham people. For 3 centuries, kings fell on fierce battlefields. Men were busy with life-or-death diplomatic trials. The political leadership was highly unstable. But women held the time capsule of the entire nation. They kept the land, the language, and the rituals. Property passed from mothers to daughters directly. The family line was tracked through the female side. This structure prevented total social disintegration. Even when temples fell, the domestic cults survived. Female power kept the soul of the culture unbroken. Mothers taught children the ancient epic poems. They preserved the memory of their naval ancestors. The weaving patterns maintained historical symbols. Every textile piece was a historical document. This cultural transmission happened at home. It evaded the strict control of foreign rulers. The matrix of survival was complex and complete. Religion unified them, matrilineal stabilized them. This internal strength surprised foreign observers. They saw a nation that refused to die out completely. The domestic sphere became a cultural sanctuary. The core identity remained untouched by time. The spiritual fort was stronger than brick walls. Panduranga history is a lesson in political survival. They balanced carefully between 2 rising giants. The camera glides over the relief of King Po Rome. He was the legendary ruler of the 17th century. We are looking at the final golden age of autonomy. Po Rome connected highland tribes with coastal people. He formed a solid internal front to guard the state. He also built peace through royal marriage alliances. He married a princess from the southern Wind Lord. This diplomatic bond delayed direct military invasion. Panduranga maintained sovereignty and global networks. They traded with regional powers as an equal state. But destiny always tests the strongest survivors. The tragic civil war engulfed the Central Coast. The region became an arena for external armies. One thought. became a bloody geopolitical chessboard. The kingdom was caught between rival factions. Cham leaders were dragged into the internal storms. They made life-or-death choices to guard autonomy. Some factions aligned with the northern rulers. Others supported the southern forces for survival. The internal split caused deep social pain. Families were divided by political allegiances. Heavy warfare and cannon fire shrank their borders. Many ancient towns were destroyed in the fighting. Yet their native laws and crown refused to surrender. The political institutions adapted to the chaos.
It is our only
They
way
maintained
out.
a shadow
Agreed.
government in the hills.
Send the runners in.
The administrative machinery never stopped working. The resilience of their statehood was exceptional. This 300-year journey hit a turning point. In 1802, King Zalong defeated the Tayson army. He founded the Nguyen dynasty, unifying the entire land. To reward the absolute loyalty of the Cham royals, Zalong maintained a special autonomous status. Under Hui's protection, Thuan Thong kept its king. They retained their own laws, customs, and army. This was a solemn recognition after many storms. A peaceful pause for an unyielding maritime power. Night falls entirely over the ancient sanctuary. I lean against a rough basalt pillar under the stars. Every ruin is a proud witness of an immortal soul. But history never stops. A new storm is gathering. Minh Mang, his central decrees will break the crown in 1832. Discover the final 33 years of Champa in episode 8+. Support the historical journey. Like, share, subscribe.